This is question number 20 from the January 2017 Algebra 1 Regent. Noah conducted a survey on sports participation. He created the following two dot plots to represent the number of students participating by age in soccer and basketball. Then we have the two dot plots. Which statement about the given data is correct? Then we have choices 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's start with choice 1. The data for soccer players are skewed right. Is that true? The data for the soccer players looks like it's randomly distributed. A normal distribution looks like a bell curve. Normal distribution means there's few low values, then middle values, and few high values. That's normal. When something is skewed right, we have very few values on the right and a lot of values on the left. When something is skewed left, we have very few values on the left and a lot of values on the right. And then random is what looks like this, up, down, up, down, up, down. It doesn't look like it's normal, it doesn't look like it's skewed right, it doesn't look like it's skewed left. So choice 1 is not going to be the correct answer. Let's move on to choice 2. The data for soccer players have less spread than the data for basketball players. Spread is how far the data is away from the mean, how spread out the data is. In order to find the spread for each of the data sets, we could input the data into our calculator and have the calculator calculate for us the standard deviation. Once we're already putting the data into our calculator, let's see what we need for the next two choices. For choice 3, we need to find the median. Is the data for the basketball players the same median as the data for the soccer players? So once we're already putting the data into the calculator, we're going to have the calculator calculate for us the median also. And then for choice 4, we need to find the mean. Is the data for the basketball players to have a greater mean than the data for the soccer players? So we're going to calculate standard deviation, median, and mean for each of them. To do that, we're going to press Stat, Edit. In L1, we'll put in the soccer players. So these are going to be L1, and in L2, we're going to put in the basketball players. So for L1, we have 3 6s, 4 7s, 2 8s, 2 9s, 3 10s, 2 11s, and 2 12s. And then for L2, for the basketball players, we have 1 6, 1 7, 2 8s, 3 9s, 3 10s, 4 11s, and 4 12s. Let's first do for the soccer players the standard deviation, the median, and the mean, and then we're going to do for the basketball players the standard deviation, the median, and the mean. So for the soccer players, we're going to do Stat, right arrow to Calc, enter over 1 var stats. Our list, our data is in L1, so that's correct. We don't have a frequency list, so we're going to scroll down to Calculate and press Enter. The calculator calculates for us a lot of information. We are only going to write down the stuff that we need. We need the standard deviation. The standard deviation is sigma x, which is over here. The standard deviation is 2. We also need the median. To find the median, we need to scroll down a little bit. And the median is MED, represents median. The median is 8.5. And we need the mean. The mean is the first thing that they give us. We have to scroll back up to see that. The X with the bar on top. X bar represents mean. The mean for this data is 8.6 repeating. And now we're going to calculate the standard deviation, the median, and the mean for the basketball players. So we're going to press Stat, right arrow to Calc, enter over 1 var stats, 1 variable statistics. Now our data is in, we're getting our data from L2, so we're going to press second 2. When we press the second button, we're pressing the little blue words, blue letters, blue symbols above each button. So when we press 2, we're going into L2, pressing L2, scroll down to calculate, press Enter, and let's write what we know, what we found here. Sigma of x, sigma, the standard deviation over here, is 1.76. Let's round it off to 1.76. The median, we're going to have to scroll down to be able to see it, is 10. And then we have to scroll back up to get the mean. X bar is 9.8 repeating. And now let's go back to choices 2, 3, and 4. Choice 2. The data for the soccer players has less spread than the data for the basketball players. So that means that the data for the soccer players would have a lower standard deviation than the data for the basketball players. The standard deviation for the soccer players is 2. The standard deviation for the basketball players is 1.76. So since the data for the soccer players has a higher standard deviation than the data for the basketball players, they have more spread than the data for the basketball players, and choice 2 cannot be the correct answer. Choice 3. The data for the basketball players have the same median as the data for the soccer players. The median for the basketball players is 10. The median for the soccer players is 8.5. Since they do not have the same median, choice 3 cannot be the correct answer. Choice 4. The data for the basketball players have a greater mean than the data for the soccer players. The mean for the basketball players is 9.8 repeating, it's almost 9.9. And the mean for the soccer players is 8.6, which is almost 9. So since the data for the basketball players is a greater mean than the data for the soccer players, choice 4 is the correct answer.